Being inside the vehicle with the heating system on and looking at the skies and the green grass and trees here where I live, you would think it's summertime. But once you step outside, you're going to get hit with a 55-degree weather. You know, there isn't a single cloud in the sky, guys. It's very, very misleading. The sun's out and everything, and it's supposed to be a high of 62 today. But it's cool nonetheless. So anyways, next month I have a paid day off. I have to be scheduled to go in for my semi-annual checkup, and I have an appointment also with Quest Diagnostics to pull some blood for the lab work, because my doctors will need that on the 19th when I go in for my semi-annual visit. The one thing that's different is I don't have to drive all the way to St. Pete. When I went to my last semi-annual, they told me that they have an office in Tampa, and Tampa's less than an hour away. That's where I'll be going for my checkup. But I also have to be getting ready to prepare for my taxes, IRS taxes that I'll do in a few weeks here. So I spoke with my tax preparer back in Sarasota, and we had a conversation for about a half an hour. She's not just my tax preparer, she's also a friend. I used to work with her husband at my old job. And yeah, so I'm probably going to meet her for lunch on the day of my doctor's visit. She's good with that, and I'm good with that. It's good for me too to get out and get some fresh air. I'm glad I had that vacation time left for that. So that's good. So anyways, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers and to all those visitors checking out my channel for the first time. If you guys see something or hear something that resonates with you, then please consider on subscribing, okay? If you do, hit the bell button twice. That way you're going to get notifications of any uploads that I do. Anyways, I'll see you guys with more.
I'm not suggesting anything so complicated.
I know I haven't been making a lot of videos lately. A lot of it is due to my change of schedule. On Mondays and Tuesdays, I have to work later, so 6 p.m. And it even got in the way of me going to the gym and working out. So anyways, my subject of topic today is going to be with narcissistic, controlling families. As of last year, I officially broke away from my family because of having to look back at the way we treated one another, and they kind of made me the scapegoat and the black sheep of my family. When I was young and I was growing up in my family, I was the laid back one. But I can be verbal if you connect with me on a subject that I find interesting. Unfortunately, in my family, there wasn't a lot of interesting subjects. the conversations were more about ridicule, picking on one another, making fun of one another, and that's how it was growing up. My father was the jokester of the family, and in my opinion, he had some deep-seated insecurities that I would witness with his friends and also with his family. My father's way out around some of these insecure feelings was humor. Okay? He loved watching TV sitcoms that were funny. Okay? He loved watching Archie Bunker. He loved watching Sanford and Son. And he adored watching the Three Stooges. He loved watching some sports. He didn't care much for baseball or football. He didn't care much about American sports. Some of his friends and some of his Portuguese friends loved soccer. Okay? So most European countries like Portugal, Mexico, Spain, England, they have really good soccer teams. So when he would go out to his favorite bars or Portuguese clubs, he would sit around his Portuguese friends, and some of them would talk about sports, namely soccer. Other than that, he would go out to meet his friends, and they sat around having beer and playing cards, whatever his favorite card was. And then he would go home. He would either stop at these places on the way home from work, but that's very seldom. He would actually come home and then go back out. But on the weekend, he would spend the majority of those weekend days out with his friends. So the times that I would see him during the weekends were only in the evenings when he came back home and he settled in to dinner or watched the news, and then off to bed he went. And then on Monday, he would work. My mother was pretty much under my father's control because she spoke limited English. She didn't have a driver's license, okay? And she was illiterate. She couldn't read or write. So right there, she had no control of anything except the household and us kids, namely me and my brothers. My mother grew up in a semi-abusive family that was also very controlling. Okay. My grandmother, her mother, had several relationships and was dated several men, some of whom didn't marry her. So my mother has sisters from different fathers, okay? Or my sister's father could have been the same father of my mother. It's confusing. So needless to say, with these ingredients, I was raised in a very highly dysfunctional family. One that's surrounded a lot around narcissism and control and belittling and argumentative. My father wasn't the most faithful man in the world. He had his affairs, and because of that, I have a half sister who I don't talk to. So I'm going to fast forward into my experiences living with my family. When I was growing up, from a very young child to my early adulthood, I had been a heavy stutterer. Okay, a heavy stutterer. Because of that, I was very quiet, and I wasn't the most communicable person, because I knew that when I have conversations with someone, or I want to talk with someone, I would stutter a lot. And the stuttering mostly involved having conversations with my parents or my siblings, but not very much in school or with my school friends. Now thinking back at that, I can see why. I was dreadfully scared of my mother in particular. As I said before in my previous videos, my grandmother raised me from birth up until I was about 5.5 to 6 years old. I think those ages were crucial for development, but not only that, I recognize my grandmother as the loving person, the nurturing person, the woman that gave me all the love and that I gave love to, instead of my mother. And as I said in my previous videos, as I was growing up, I wasn't very close to my mother. The reason being is because the vibrations that I would get from her were not a loving kind of vibrations. They were not of warmth and caring. She was often very abusive towards me and manipulative and very strict. There were times where I experienced my brothers would go out to play with their friends, and my mother would not allow me to go out sometimes to play with my friends. She would force me to sit on the corner of the kitchen or wherever I was until she felt like letting me go out. Instead of going out to play with my friends, she would make me do housework. Vacuum the house, sweep the house, wash the dishes. And then when she felt like letting me go, she would say, "Go outside and play." During the winters, she'd let me go out and play more often. But the winters is freezing. It's cold. Kids don't want to be outside in the winter all the time. It's actually cold. New England winters are very cold. Very harsh. So during the winter, she had no problem letting me go out to play. she would actually yell at me, says, go outside and go play in the snow. Like that. During my young childhood, I did take notice that my mother favored my youngest brother more, Alan. Me and my middle brother came to this country last out of my family members. And when we came to this country, I noticed that our mother was not as loving to me and my middle brother as she was with the youngest one. As a matter of fact, of the 3 children, my youngest brother was the first one that my parents bought the first bicycle to, was my youngest brother. And it was a brand new bike that they bought at Sears. Later on, my parents would buy my brother a bike at a police auction, a used bicycle for $35. I didn't have a bike. My grandmother bought my bicycle when I was just 15 years old. My grandmother bought me one of my first vehicles. Okay? This is a woman who lived on $550 a month in the 1970s. So anyways, this is a story that I'm going to have to pick up again when I come up, but I want to continue this because this is very interesting, and I think it's going to allow you to see why I made the choices I did in my life. So I just pulled up into my parking lot where I work, and when I leave here today and tonight, I should be able to wrap up this little story. And it's very interesting because there are a lot of people in this world that separate themselves from their families because of narcissism, control, intimidation in families. We'll be right back.
Nachona, 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 nachona mere saath. Nachona, 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 nachona mere saath.
So, my many years living with my family, I witnessed and saw a lot of manipulation from my mother. And I felt manipulated. There was this veil of inner hate that came towards me. And a lot of it was very, very controlling. Okay? So, I remember recently, just about 3.5 years ago, I decided to go visit my father in the hospital. And today, he's in a nursing home, and he goes home maybe once a week, or maybe just for the weekend. But when I went to go visit my father, I didn't tell anybody that I was going to go. So my mother found out when I was already in Massachusetts staying at a hotel. I called her up. I told her that I was in town and that I was there to go visit my father in the hospital. And I told her that I was going to pick her up. We were going to go out for breakfast. So I picked her up. She gave me a hug, and immediately there was a barrier that I felt from her, you know, she felt distance. There was this distance feeling, you know. And it was winter time, of course. And she got in my car, and right away my brother called because my mother told him I was there. And we're driving to the restaurant for breakfast. My brother called, and right away she wanted to talk with my brother, the youngest one. He's not that young anymore. He's in his early 50s. And immediately she wanted to FaceTime my brother. And the first thing she does was, "Oh, I love you. I miss you. Nah, 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 nah," you know? She's doing all the slobbering and it's all this mushy stuff to my brother that she sees every single day. Every single day. At that point, I had not have seen her for many years. And I drove 24 hours to go see my father and her. And here she is, blowing my brother a kiss, slobbering on my phone while they're FaceTiming. And I'm like, you know, I just drove here 24 hours and I didn't get none of that. I didn't get none of that. That goes to show you her mindset. Okay? And after I went through my personal challenges in life, I never got her respect till this day. You know? And it's only been like maybe 6 months since I stopped talking to her. But now officially I have distance away from my family, my total family. You see, what happened was I've been living here 25 years. And for 20 of the years, I had been flying up there or driving up there to visit them. And not once did they find it in their heart to hop on a plane and come down here and spend time with me. Even those days when I spent time in the hospital, even those days when I was home recovering from surgeries, or even back in 2009 when I was struck by a vehicle on my bicycle. These people that are supposedly my family never dropped a dime to call me to find out how I am. Even as I lay in the hospital recovering from when I got hit by a vehicle. Okay? Even when I told them that I may be losing my eyesight on my left eye. As a matter of fact, they never asked me ever how my eyes was. Is your vision getting better? What's going to happen? Nothing. As a matter of fact, if I touched base on any situation that involves me that I discuss with them, they tell me, "Oh, we didn't know that." Oh, they act like I never told them. They act like it never happened. They act like they're just finding out. What does that tell me? That tells me that when I was talking to them about these situations and what I've been going through was not registering in their head. They didn't keep it in their mind. They let it go. Okay? Now, their health is failing. My father is in a nursing home. He has to have dialysis once a month or twice a month, whatever the case is. My mother is always in and out of the hospital. My brother expected me, the youngest one that's favored, expected me to just quit my job, sell everything I worked hard for to go up there to help him support my family. It got so bad with our conversations, me and my brothers, that I was actually thinking about selling everything, quitting my job, to go up there to support him, help my parents. He even got to a point where he was bribing me with getting back some money from the will. Obviously, he had removed me from the will. And until one morning I woke up, because that whole previous night I was not sleeping. I kept, my mind and heart was so were so unsteady, always thinking and contemplating, is this the right thing to do? And then something clicked, and I said to myself, I've been living here over 20 years. These are a group of people who never gave a crap about me, never cared to visit me. Okay? Not once, not one time, guys, not one time. Even I was flying back and forth every single year for 20 years to visit them. Not once did they do the same thing to me before they got sick. They weren't sick for 24 straight years, only the past 5 or 10. Not even 10. And something clicked in my mind, and I woke up, I put my foot down, I said, I am not giving up my life here. I'm not going to sell my home that I just bought. I'm not going to quit my job. I was thinking of quitting my job or doing the transfer, but even when you do a transfer with the same company, if a position up there that's similar to yours is not available, then you don't have a job. Not once did my brother say, I'll help you find a job if you can come up here and help me. I'll help you find a place to stay. Not even that. Not even that. I was thinking of moving to go up there and start all over with nothing, because now their health is failing and they need help. Where were they when my health was failing? Where were they? And what were they thinking when I told them that I may lose my eyesight? They weren't thinking of me. They were only thinking about themselves. This is why I have broken away from my family, because they're not a family. Just because we're blood does not mean they're family. Families are more than blood. Okay? And if they're not my family, that's because there's no love. There's no love. Just manipulation, narcissism, control, and that's how it's been all my life since a child. That's what I saw. They want to use me, and I said, I'm not going to allow it anymore. I'm not going to allow it anymore, because I have what you can call self-love. Okay? They didn't sacrifice anything for me. Okay? And I don't feel guilty. There are times that I feel a little bit of guilt, but then I have to remind myself that I have to put myself first, because they're not putting me first. They were putting themselves first. I have to do the same thing. If they were the type of people to do surprise visits, and check on me from time to time like I was doing to them. If I didn't experience the child abuse and the mental abuse from my family, then things could have definitely been different. But it's not different. That's not the kind of family I had with my mother and father while living with them. So that's what I wanted to talk about. That's what I want to discuss, because I don't have a family. I live alone. I have a few friends. I don't feel one bit sorry or bad about how I live my life. I have so much peace in my life. It's incredible. And what I have, I never had. I never had that with them. And even a year ago when I was talking to them, it was nothing but drama and drama and drama. And every time, every opportunity they had, they were always asking me, when am I going to go up there? Okay? And every time we spoke on the phone, it's about how they're not doing so good, how they're in and out of the hospital. They never shared with me any good news at all. Okay? They never shared any good news with me at all. At all. It was always about how horrible they're doing and how bad they feel, how sickly they were. Nothing. And then to make matters worse, they turned my son against me. Yes, they did. My middle brother tend to go back and forth, plays two sides of the fence, and that's because of his guilt. But ultimately, he sides with them. And I had blocked him for about 3 years on the phone, didn't want to talk to him. And finally, he had to reach out to one family friend who had my phone number to ask him to text me to put these hard feelings behind me so we can be family again. And I said to myself, since when did I ever feel like family with you? And I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I gave him my phone number, and we got along for maybe 3 weeks. And just a week and a half ago, he turned against me and started cussing me out for no apparent reason. You see, he's an alcoholic, and he delves into cocaine and snorting and all that stuff. He's 57 years old, and he just got his first apartment, because before this, he was bouncing from girlfriend to girlfriend. And his relationship will not last because he's a very controlling person. The reason he got into an argument with me a week and a half ago was because he don't agree that I should take prescription medicine. I take heart meds. Okay? I take thyroid medicine. One of the reasons why I almost lost my vision was because of hypertension. The blood vessel attached to my retina filled up with fluid, and it blocked part of the vision in my eye. And he's against me because I take prescription medicine for these situations that I take. And he started telling me that, and going off on a tangent, actually raising his voice in an angry way, telling me how he doesn't think my father should have dialysis, that his body can mend on its own. If you have kidney failure, How is your body going to mend on its own? My father's 84 years old. He depends on dialysis to survive. And he attacked me on that. And talking over me, don't let me explain. Until I figured out I don't need no explanation for him. I said to him, you can call me back when you can let me talk and we can have a decent conversation like two mature adults. He wasn't stopping. He was screaming and yelling, and I finally hung up and I put him back on block. These are the manipulation and the control that he grew up with, seeing my mother and father like that, and he thinks it's a good thing to do. It's not a good thing to do. So that's what happened when I gave him an opportunity to see if we can have a family relationship where we have respect for each other. And he cannot be that way. So I'm done with him. Okay? And I'm not going to backpedal anymore. I am not going to try ever again. I'm done. I was done with my mother 6 months ago. I stopped it. Okay? And my youngest brother, I was done with him almost a year ago. And I'm literally done. I'm done. And every time I keep them at a distance, I don't deal with them anymore, I feel so much peace. I come home to a peaceful quiet. I don't want to let these people pollute my home over the phone and trying to control me. I'm done with it. I am so finished, guys. But anyway, I just thought that I would finish this video that I began yesterday. And if there's anybody out there who's experiencing family strife, family manipulation and control, narcissism, sarcasm, intimidation, and manipulation, please comment. Let me know how you handled it, because this is the way that I'm going to handle it. Okay? I don't have a family, and I don't feel one bit bad about it. I don't feel one bit bad about it. I am relieved. I want to surround myself with positive people where we can lift each other up and support one another like human beings and show love and respect. Not everybody in the world has those qualities, but you don't have to tolerate the ones that don't. You just simply move on. But anyway, it's 10 of 8. It's 47 degrees, guys. And I'm dressed in layers. And I'm going to go in here and finish off. Begin my day, rather. And do the best I can. Stay busy. So time goes quickly. And go back to my sanctuary. But if you guys watch the entire video, I want to say thank you very, very much. I appreciate you guys. And I'm trying to get back on the swing from putting out more quality video based on like just some issues that people may be going through that I can resonate with as well, and talk about those things that matter. I don't just want to put out meaningless videos. That was one of the reasons why I cut back on my videos. Not a lot of my early videos were meaningful. So I'm trying to create meaningful content for my channel. That's why I cut back the amount of videos. So I hope to see you guys soon, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you're living in a state where you're getting a blizzard or dreadfully cold, I hope that you guys keep warm and drive safe, and I'll be talking to you guys soon.
चांदनी रात है रात है रात है सपनों की बात है बात है बात है रोके ना कोई नाचो ना नाचो ना नाचो ना नाचो ना मेरे साथ नाचो ना नाचो ना नाचो ना नाचो ना नाचो ना मेरे साथ नाचो ना नाचो ना नाचो ना नाचो ना नाचो ना